What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about how the Detroit Lions could actually have an explosive offense this
Uh-oh.
upcoming season. So what we're going to do is we each have 5 reasons why we think the offense can be good. So I'm going to share my 5. Craig's going to share his 5, and we're both going to kind
Yep.
of react to it. Actually, Craig, why don't you go first? Run through your 5 and
Well, that's good because I think people
yeah.
like you more. So if we do your 5 second, then people will be more likely to hang on and listen till the
Oh,
end of the
I
video.
think so.
So,
Yeah, that's everyone's
yeah.
like, man,
Oh, so
what is
you
Chris
agree
going to
people
say?
like you more? Is that
Yeah,
what you're saying?
they're like, what is he going to say? I know.
What
So
is
go
it?
ahead, you hit
I
it.
never know.
I'll react to it. Yeah.
All right. So we did a video similar to this probably a month or two ago. Things have changed since then. And I like revisiting this topic. I thought this was a really good topic, but my number one reason is still number one. But let me ask you this. Do you want me to go 5-1 or 1-5?
1 to 5.
1-5. So my biggest reason that the Lions offense will be explosive is very simple. They have a good offensive line. They have a good offensive line. They bring back all 5 starters. Penei Sewell's a year better. Jonah Jackson's a year better. Frank Ragnow is healthy. And Taylor Decker is healthy and hopefully for an entire season. They also have depth there, but I don't want to spoil another one of my reasons they'll be good. But I am a firm believer that you can put mediocre position players around a phenomenal offensive line and it ends up being well. So if this is a elite offensive line, you are going to have mediocre running backs that look phenomenal. And I think Swift is somewhere from mediocre to good. So I think that could look really, really good. My number 2 reason is we now have receivers that fit what Jared Goff likes to do. They fit what he likes to do. We saw it when we brought in Josh Reynolds. We saw how much Goff's efficiency and trust and confidence to throw the ball down the field, how much better that got. So now they bring in DJ Chark. They have Reynolds. They're both almost the exact same body type, right?
Mhm.
And the way they run routes, Chark just does everything a little bit more athletic and faster. So I'm excited to see what that looks like with Amon-Ra St. Brown. The next one is depth at running back, the third one. So you have Swift, you have Williams, you have Reynolds, you have we already have a running back room intact and it's 5 running backs strong. Right.
Yes.
I mean, you could even throw in why am I blanking on his name? But the rookie Jamar Jefferson,
Yes.
I think, and you could throw in Igwebuike in there, and all of a sudden you're like, man, there's actually some depth here, and I wouldn't even put it out of question a late round draft pick on a running back again to replace Jefferson in that running back room. So there's depth there. Fourth reason is we have a top 10 tight end. We do. We have a top 10 tight end. So when you combine that with good receivers, we no longer have a weakness. Last year, for the first 10 games, it felt just awful because we had no outside presence. We had
Yep.
no outside presence. We had Amon-Ra St. Brown, we had Hockenson, but nothing on the outside. Then Hockenson ended up not playing the last few games, and it felt like Amon-Ra St. Brown was our interior presence, but we didn't have that big body. Can you imagine if there's no place we can attack on the field?
Right.
Like we have our underneath receiver in St. Brown. We have our over the top receiver in Chark. We have our mid range receiver in Reynolds.
Reynolds.
I mean, and then you have Hockenson who can do a little bit of everything at tight end. That's pretty
Yeah.
good, man.
Yeah.
And then reason 5 was going to be the new wide receiver room, but I decided to go with overall depth. I think like bringing Evan Brown back to be a backup on the offensive line was a big signing. We now, if we didn't make another move, we have 5 wide receivers that I'm comfortable with.
Mhm.
I mean, like they're there and they're already signed. We have depth there. We have depth at the running back position. We have all of our 3 quarterbacks signed. I don't know if that means we have depth there. Really, the only position we don't have a ton of depth right now, we have a lot of names, but no depth, is tight end.
Yep.
So I think overall, when you have depth at almost every position, it allows you to go through the season where there will be injuries and keep your offense explosive.
I love it. And you nailed it. So makes my job easy because
Please
those
tell
are
me you had the same 5.
basically my 5. And let me just hit on a couple other things. So
Yeah, please. Let's talk about it.
yeah, so my big one is St. Brown, right? So we talked
Okay.
about receivers, but if you get more granular and more specific, St. Brown, if you look at his last 6 games, 580 yards, touchdowns, active, just all over the field. And what was so cool about it was all the different plays that we were running with him. And so I think
Yeah.
Ben Johnson is like, yo, I'm gonna like not even screw around. This guy's gonna be running reverses.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in the backfield. Like he is just a matchup problem. So it's just really nice
Matchup
there. And then,
problem.
like you said, hey, we've got the outside receivers, we got Hawkinson, we got running backs, we got and then you got this guy running all over the place. It's like, man, that
Yeah.
just feels good. So that's one for me. The next one, I did say Hawkinson. Hawkinson's back.
Oh,
It
great.
feels good to just have him back, a big body in there. Then third is offensive line, which we forget that there was so much hype last year about our offensive line. Then bam, Decker's out like a day before the game, and then
Oh,
Ragnow's out for the season. And it's just like,
yes.
well, Ragnow's not going to be out for the season, probably. And it's like, no, he really is. He never played, and it's
Yeah.
like, okay, that hurt. And then you know,
Okay.
same with yeah, it was like they never even got on the field together, all five of those guys. So that's going to be
No,
awesome. The
no.
next one, number 4 is we're going to be, and we've shown it, aggressive. And I think that's what
I
you have
hope
to do.
so.
I know that's
That would
what
be
you have to do
amazing.
in especially you really think about it. You're like, all right, Goff, we're going to give you 4 downs basically to get 10 yards almost every possession, right? And
Yeah.
he can do that. And we're just going to be so aggressive that I think we're just going to stay on the field, put up points. And then the final reason is we have a big play wide receiver. So we saw it
Yes.
a little bit with our guy Reynolds, but Reynolds, I like what you said. Chark is just is more athletic version of Reynolds. Reynolds
Yeah.
is
It's a
that
little faster.
guy. Yeah, he's that guy in high school that was taller than everybody, super smooth, like, just a
Mhm.
good athlete, never works out, but he's just able to kind of make a play here and there. And it's like, hey, love you, Reynolds, but man, we really need that explosive, and we get that with Chark. So
Mhm.
those we're right there. We're basically saying the same thing, but it's like when you really look at it, that's what's exciting is like offense pretty much set.
Mhm.
Defense, let's go to work. And
Let's
we're
get to
still
work.
we got a couple years. We have another draft cycle really to be like, okay, we got something here. But
Yeah.
offensively, we're where we could only ask for, really.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 things that I wanna say coming off of that. I think we will be defensive heavy in the draft, but our offense, while it might feel like it could be set, like we could run our offense out there right now with what we have and probably be very successful. However, that doesn't mean that if there's talent, top end talent at the draft whenever we're picking, that we won't do it. Like we're always gonna be looking to add superior talent to what we have because I don't think what we have is just insane. Like our receiver
Exactly.
core looks good this year because of how much better it is than it was last year. But remember, last year in the beginning of the year, it sucked. Like I think I can say that, right?
Oh
Especially
my
when
gosh.
Williams went down and all of a sudden Williams goes down and I remember what it was like game 3 or 4 or 5. Our number 1 wide receiver was Khalif Raymond. Remember this?
Hmm.
And it's just like, this is bad. Like, this is a lack of depth. This is really bad. And so I think that's what I like the most about it right now. The other thing I will say too is TJ Hawkinson in a little bit of a prove it year. I think
Yeah.
he might be because he's kind of had injury struggles. He's performed at times, he hasn't performed at others. I think we all thought he was going to be like that top 5 tight end this year. He wasn't. Um, he was a top 15 tight end, but he wasn't a top 5 tight end. So prove it to me as he's going into a year where not this year, but next year, he's in that final year of the rookie deal. Are we going to pick up that option, sign him long term? Like, I think he kind of has a prove it year this
That's a
year.
good point. And
See what's
and
going to happen.
and you make 2 good points there. And we'll wrap it up here in a minute, but I think definitely we can't, as Lions fans, we fall into that trap of like, look at our running backs. And I
Yes.
do think they're really good, but that's because we've had nobody for 15 years that's really like a running back room. We've had a guy that we've signed that's like, see what we can do, but on Johnson, or I mean, you go through all these second round draft picks of running backs that we've had, but we actually legit have a good running back room. But you're right, you fall into this trap of like, look how good they are. Well,
Yeah.
in relation to how bad it's been, but you look
Yes.
around the league and there's good running backs all over the place. But yeah, to your
There are.
point, we gotta just kind of temper our expectations. But I do think we like, man, it's like I'm not trying to drink too much Kool-Aid, but man, where's the weakness really on the offense? And then you could really hone in on Goff. That's a whole nother video. But I think we're in good shape.
And I will say this, and I know we got to end, right? Maybe we'll make a different video on this, but I will say this, and maybe the TJ Hawkinson one too. But the offensive line, If you have a great offensive line, it marginally increases the view of every other position. It makes your quarterback look better, your wide receivers, your running backs, your tight end. If you have a bad offensive line, it makes every one of those positions look a little bit worse. I think about this with the Dallas Cowboys, and what they're doing now makes no sense to me, how they're letting their linemen go. And when they had 4 of their 5 linemen were Pro Bowl caliber, which, by the way, we do have that right now. We have 4 out of the 5 linemen are Pro Bowl caliber. If you look at the line, you can argue with me all you want. You're wrong. I'm right, because Decker has shown that he's been able to do that. Ragnow has shown it. Jonah Jackson was in the Pro Bowl last year, and I think we all know Penei Sewell has that level in him and actually was graded out as a Pro Bowl right tackle last year.
Yep.
So I think, like, we look at that, like, even if it's not superior talent, it could play like it is because the offensive line is so good. That's all I'm going to say on that. And now you can end the video. Sorry.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. Awesome. Good stuff. We'll keep an eye on this, and we'll do another one after the draft, because I doubt we're going to take 10 defensive players. We're going to add some pieces as they come.
9 for 9 defense.
Yeah.
Would you be that upset though?
No,
No, it's weird.
But you're exactly right. We're going to add some pieces. There's going to be somebody sitting there that you're like, I have to take this guard, in the 5th round or something.
You're like, what do we? Okay.
Yeah, take it. So, subscribe if you haven't yet. It just means you're going to get notified on our latest videos. And Craig and I will see you on the next one.
See you.